Hold on there now. So for the people that would been asking me from the other day, my view, how would I get an update on the Clansman trial? Don't need to worry yourself. I put together a nice little package for you right now. You can go and go listen. Let me tell you, go and power go on to the door. Them release Carl Beach. And it's Carl Beach, him a the little junkie one. You understand? Everybody from Brown and Jones Avenue side know him. He always drink and junk and go and do one only for foolishness. People not too afraid of him, but wait there. Look on the screen right now, in the right hand corner. I wonder if you know how that. The serial pisser, him that people, him piss up the whole of the courthouse today. Man, them called Ted Prince. Pissup Ted. Yes, man, you have piss bed from a long time. All of them big, so him still a piss bed. Real Pissup boy, these people, they want piss up the whole of the court. But let me tell you something you probably don't know. Him don't know already, say him not gonna win. Run them and you know. Him know that already, people. That's why you see. Him are gonna do everything to try and annoy the court. Yes, man, but Justice Sykes don't have film thing cut out already for him. Anyway, now, people, I try go on power, go on.
Welcome back to MyView TV, the people's platform, the home of undiluted news, reviews, updates, and your daily dose of entertainment. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, leave us a comment, like, share, and subscribe.
I don't bring nobody forward in your cheer for me. Everything what you see up my natural talent. Man, me tell you something. You see, when you know what to please the audience with, it's simple.
At the start of the proceedings in the Supreme Court this morning, the defendant, Ted Prince, was seen laying on the bench. When Chief Justice Brian Sykes made inquiries, Prince told him that the police service vehicle he traveled to court in met in an accident and that he was feeling pain in his head and left shoulder. Justice Sykes stated, "We wouldn't want anything to happen to you, so the police will have to make arrangements for you to receive medical attention and treatment if required." Prince's left hand has been in a sling for the past 3 weeks. On Friday, January 27, Prince accused the wardens at Horizon Remand Center of hitting him and injuring his arm. At that time, he also accused them of preventing him from receiving medical attention. Justice Sykes gave the police instructions to have Prince taken to a doctor. Prince is charged with murder and being part of a criminal organization. Meanwhile, prior to the start of the proceedings this morning, a squabble occurred between two of the accused men in the holding cell at the Supreme Court in downtown Kingston. Defendants Fabian Johnson and Donovan Richards reportedly had a disagreement and a fight broke out. The police intervened and Richards alleged that he injured his mouth after being pushed to the ground. When Justice Sykes asked if he would like to see a doctor, he said, "No man, that all right. Me all right for go on, my lord." The alleged gang leader Andre Blackman Bryan and his 27 co-accused are charged with various offenses including murder, conspiracy to murder, arson, illegal possession of firearms, and illegal possession of ammunition. The Chief Justice has been summing up the trial for the past 4 weeks. He was slated to continue his summation today, but he will instead resume on Tuesday morning at 10.
According to Justice Sykes, from the defense's perspective, there's no better evidence than having the state saying the defendants were in custody. He said, quote, "You can't be out and about doing all sorts of things when you're in custody," end quote. Witnesses at the Horizon Remand Center testified from their records that the defendants were in custody from as far back as 2017. Defendant Khalifa Williams, in his unsworn statement from the dock, told the court that he has been at Horizon since January 2017. He said he didn't know who Andre Bryan was before and he first met him in 2019. He added that he only knew 4 of the defendants because they're from the same community. Officers from Horizon also testified on behalf of defendants Tariq James, Pete Miller, and Donovan Richards. Miller was in custody from November 20, 2012 to August 11, 2017. He was rearrested in September 2018 and held at the Spanish Town lockup. He was transferred to Horizon in 2019, where he remains to this date. In Miller's case, Justice Sykes said, "A lot will depend on the time period of the events attributed to him on the indictment." As it relates to James, the defense mounted that he couldn't possibly be involved in incidents dating back to 2017 or any period to date. James was arrested on November 7, 2017, and has been back and forth in custody between the Spanish Town lockup and Horizon. Justice Sykes pointed out, though, that the records from the facility were not from a substantial system as they are scattered among several different books. He highlighted the need for digitizing the records. Meanwhile, Justice Sykes completed the examination of evidence concerning identification parades for the defendants. He found that all the parades were appropriately conducted.
Reading the testimony made by members of the security forces who were present during the raids and identification parade, Chief Justice Brian Sykes highlighted similar protocols where an application form to conduct the raid was filed. The court learned that in all cases, mere days later, the raid was conducted. The report states the accused gang members gave consent for their images to be taken and processed, which were then added to a lineup of multiple persons for the Crown witnesses to single them out. The witness positively identified Jermaine Robinson, Jazeel Blake, Fabian Johnson, Dylan McLean, Dwight Hall, Donovan Richards, Daniel McKenzie, Chavoy Evans, Brian Morris, Andre Golding, and Carl Beach, all as members of a criminal organization. Sykes says the witness positively identified Morris, Hall, Richards, and Evans as shooters affiliated with the Clansman gang, and Evans as a known extortionist in the Spanish Town area. While reading the testimonies, Sykes notes the computers and related instruments used were in good working order. Therefore, he says their findings ought to be considered. Meanwhile, Andre Blackman Bryan, despite opting out on being physically present for the identification session, his passport photo was used, and the witness positively identified him as the leader of the gang. Chief Justice Sykes says since the accused members did not raise concern for the handling of the proceeding in their unsworn statements, then the witnesses' ability to identify them were fair. In closing, Chief Justice Sykes reiterated the defendant's response to the prosecution's case, who, in a desperate attempt to paint the accused as upstanding citizens, provided, quote, good character statements for each. Sykes further highlights conflicting details surrounding dates the witnesses placed the accused at incriminating sites relating to extortion and murder versus dates they were found on record in police lockup. Reasons the defense argues for why they couldn't have committed the crimes. Court resumes on Monday.
Witness number 2, who said he was Brian's personal driver and banker of the gang, said he was given orders from Brian to drive the defendant Jazeel Blake to an area known as Fisheries in Spanish Town. Blake's role was to identify the targets at the location. The witness said the planning of the attack occurred at the operation base of the gang in Jones Avenue. Justice Sykes noted that based on the planning, it's reasonable to conclude that they had shooting with intent in mind, which is a serious offense. The witness said he saw the defendant Ted Prince carrying out the shooting. Justice Sykes said, based on the evidence, this is an example of Brian giving orders as a leader. He said the involvement of Prince and Blake show membership of the alleged gang. The witness said Prince missed the intended targets and instead shot someone else. He said Brian was not happy. Justice Sykes said despite the absence of forensic evidence, he's examining the context of the incident. The witness testified that the defendant, Andre Golding, was also present during the planning stages. It was said that after the shooting, Golding drove the vehicle to a secret location in an attempt to hide it from the police. Justice Sykes said his knowledge of the incident and his involvement shows that he's an active participant in the gang. He added that the unsworn statements from the defendants denying the allegations carry no weight. Justice Sykes said it appears that Brian was the guiding light throughout the incident. In another unindicted incident, the defendants Stephanie Christie and Fabian Johnson were pointed out by the witness. The witness testified about a plan that was orchestrated to burn down the stores of a loan company. Justice Sykes noted that there's nothing to suggest that Christie was forced into the conversation and that Johnson was deliberately present for the plan. He said on this basis, inference can be drawn that both were members of the alleged gang.